Is it lawful to shop on Black Friday? Is it lawful to shop on Black Friday? Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, in his work, Iqtida'u Sirat al-Mustaqim, being in conformity, being in compliance with the straight path, he deals with this issue of buying, selling and trading on the days of festivities or celebrations that do not have anything to do with the religion of Islam. And as we have mentioned, what has preceded, anything in the understanding of the Eid which is prohibited, if that which is attached to it is of location or of time frame, and it precedes it or it comes after it, and anything that is connected to that time frame before or after is brought about as a means of that holiday, it takes the verdict of that holiday. This is what is to be understood from the statement of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala when he mentioned hukmuha hukmuhu. The verdict of that thing is the verdict of that Eid. The verdict of that thing, that shopping on Black Friday, takes the verdict of that Eid, that celebration, which is in reference to Christmas, the 25th of December. There is also a discussion that he brings in terms of the individual that may buy general goods. He may buy general goods and so forth like this, but that is a more detailed discussion that we will leave off to the side. But in terms of the individual that may be shopping, buying the goods that support or that are brought about for the means of that holiday, they take the verdict of that holiday which is prohibited. That what the individual may buy on Black Friday, if it has been brought about or introduced, the origin or the reason for it is because of Christmas, it takes the verdict of Christmas which is prohibited. It is prohibited for you to buy it. It is prohibited for you to buy it. The next question, if a store is having an Xmas sale, a Christmas sale, but have products we need, can we buy from the store? Being that the question has arisen, inshallah ta'ala, I wanted to leave it for a allotted time frame later to come, inshallah ta'ala. If that which the individual is buying has nothing to do with the products of that particular holiday and is not associated with that holiday, whether it is before or after, or from that particular locale. It has not been introduced solely because of that particular locale. There's no connection to this product, this article, this garment, this food, whatever it may be. There's no direct link that it has been introduced or brought about for the sake of aiding, supporting this particular holiday. Then it takes the permissibility. It takes the avenue of permissibility. This third question, أحبك في الله, it mentions, I love you for the pleasure of Allah, I love you for the pleasure of the one who you love me as well. I know and understand that we, meaning me, myself, understand that we don't celebrate holidays, but ours, the two Eids, but shopping for a discount to save some money on Black Friday, is that forbidden without knowing what is Black Friday? Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he also mentions in this work, in this book, Iqtida'u Sirat al-Mustaqim, some statements of Imam Ahmed and some of the other scholars that have taken the position that it is disliked, it is makruh, it is disliked for the individuals to enter into the marketplaces during the times, the festivities of celebrations of the disbelievers. Meaning those marketplaces, those celebrations, those areas, those locales that in particular support, aid these celebrations, it is disliked that you enter into these specific marketplaces. As far as the individual trying to get a bargain, buying what they may need as a result of the sales that take place, this is the issue that I'm not going to answer. We'll leave that for another individual. Maybe Dawood or our brother Malik may have some awareness on the issue, but me, myself, I'm not going to answer. The next question, I don't know if I missed it. Can you explain the origin of the Christmas tree? You didn't miss it, we didn't present it. You didn't miss it because we didn't present it. In terms of an explanation of it, as we mentioned previously, the aqwal, the statements that are muttaribah, they are conflictful statements. Any statement that you choose, inshallah ta'ala, would be sufficient as an awareness to where it stems from, inshallah ta'ala. But as Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned himself, it would be sufficient for you to understand that it's not from our way, for you to have a position to stay away from it. But in terms of the source, the origin of it, inshallah ta'ala, you can go to the websites, inshallah, and seek some clarity upon it. As we mentioned, that which does not have a authentic chain, it is very hard to tell you this is the source of where the situation comes from. The next question, the individual is asking, if a relative who celebrates Christmas buys you a gift at the same time, then buys everyone else gifts, but says that the gift is not for Christmas, can we accept it? If a relative celebrates Christmas, buys you a gift at the same time, they buy everyone else gifts, but says that the gift is not for Christmas, can we accept it? This issue is also dealt by Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala in this same work in detail. And for the lack of time in this situation, these issues, they deserve detail. We need a lecture just on understanding the verdicts of the gifts that we are giving, the salutations, the statements that they say to us, and our reply of what some individuals say to these individuals. These statements, these actions, they need a lecture in itself. And I'm not going to answer this, but if our brother Dawood or Malik has some information that they would like to share, then I will leave that for them, inshallah. New Year's really isn't New Year's because the months are calculated wrong, or it's because people start to celebrate it at night and not during the day. I don't know if this is a statement or a question, but if it is a question, then no, it is not New Year's, because for one, our New Year starts with Muharram. Our New Year's, it starts with Muharram. And it is understood, it should be understood for the individuals that may not know, that our day starts with Maghrib. Our day, it starts with Maghrib, even though it is the dark aspect that is initiating, it is a new day. It is a new day and it starts with Maghrib. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in His book, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَسْوَدِ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضِ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. Eat and drink until you are able to distinguish the black between the white thread of Fajr. This is the initiation of when the individual fasts. ثُمَّ أَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Complete your fast until al-layl. We do not stop fasting when Isha comes. We stop fasting when Maghrib comes, al-layl. This is the beginning of the new day. This is the beginning of the new day. So with us, as when we are initiating our fasting of Ramadan, and we are looking for that moon so that we can start that nighttime salat or prayer, we are waiting till Maghrib comes so that if we see the moon, we know that a new month has started. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ النَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ. They ask you about the crescent. They ask you about the moon and the crescent. Say, it is قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ لِلنَّاسِ. It is so that you can understand the time frames. You can understand your time frames of day and of night and of years. وَالْحَجْ. And you can understand when to initiate and to start your Hajj. So our year starts with Muharram. It starts with Muharram. When the sun has set on the last day of Muharram, our new year will start. I believe that's all the questions. Alhamdulillah. As the individual that has an abundance or that brings to excess his responsibilities or his trust, he brings to excess his standing and he prolongs his questioning with Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is sufficient, inshallah ta'ala. We're not looking to lengthen our standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The shorter the standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, then the better it is. And if there is no standing, then this is success. Alhamdulillah. Those individuals that need to make wudu for the prayer, inshallah ta'ala, it's recommended that you do so now. We wanted to stop at 5 after, it's 10 after now. But for those individuals that need to perform wudu, inshallah ta'ala, we would like you to take this time to perform your wudu, inshallah ta'ala. To what extent should we go or not in regards to giving gifts for our Eidain, so as not to imitate the kuffar? Jazakumullahu khairan. Hadha su'al al-akhir. This is the last question. The Prophet ﷺ, he encouraged us to give gifts. He encouraged us to give gifts. As far as specifying the Eid itself in particular as the time to give gifts, this is something that needs a text. Gifts can be given before the Eid, on the day of the Eid, and after the Eid. As far as to specify that we should give gifts upon the Eid, our celebration and festivities, which are two, this is in need of a text, inshallah ta'ala, that I have not come across in this work of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, or in the other works that deal with the two Eids, the festivities and celebration or affairs that surround it. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وجزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. As Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he said in reference to the greetings that takes place on the various and numerous Eids of the disbelievers, in reference to its prohibition, the likeness of one who greets the disbelievers with their greetings and their salutations on their Eids, on their festivities, on their celebrations. It is as if, or the likeness of an individual who greets him and at the same time he prostrates to the cross. This would be the same effect. This would be the same effect if the individual, the Muslim, instead of giving the salutations, the greetings to the disbelievers upon their celebrations, if you were to take a cross, put it down and to prostrate to it, this is the likeness of your salutation, your greeting to them on their festivities and their Eids and their celebrations. So as the Shaykh is mentioning here, that this celebration of Christmas, it is from the deen of the Nasara. It is from the religion of the Christianity. وَلَيْسَ لِذَلِكَ أَصْلٌ فِي دِينِ الْإِسْلَامِ. And there's no foundation, there's no origin for it in the religion of Al-Islam. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لِهَذَا الْمِيلَادِ ذِكْرٌ أَصْلٌ عَلَى أَحْدِ السَّلَفِ الْمَاضِيِّينَ. And you are not going to find amongst those Salaf that have passed, that have come before us, the likeness of Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the likeness of Umar ibn Khattab, the likeness of Uthman ibn Affan, the likeness of Ali ibn Abi Talib, the likeness of Zubair, the likeness of Al-Hasan, Al-Hussein, of Tawbus, of Sa'id ibn Musayyib, of Mujahid, of Qatada, of Muqatil, of Anas ibn Malik, Ahmed ibn Hanbal, Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, Sufyan ibn Uyayna, Sufyan al-Thawri. You're not going to find amongst the likeness of these lofty individuals that they celebrated anything that was relative to Christmas. As this is something that take place, the origin of it, before the coming of the sending of the messenger Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam did not celebrate it. You're not going to find with those that have come before us a linkage, a chain that shows us that they celebrated this celebration or this festivity. بَلْ أَصْلُهُ مَأْخُوذًا عَنِ النَّصَارَى. But rather the foundation, the origin of it, it is taken from the Nasara. وَانْضُمَّ إِلَيْهِ سَبَبٌ طَبِيعِي. And likewise, there have been other things that have been added to it. Other things that have been added to it that were added naturally. They weren't added for the sake of the celebration or the festivity. There were other things that were added to this festivity, this celebration of Christmas, out of natural occurrences. وَهُوَ كَوْنُهُ فِي الشِّتَاءِ. And it is the likeness that it takes place in winter. It is the likeness that it takes place in the winter. الْمُنَاسَبِ لِإِيقَادِ النِّيرَانِ. That which is relative, that individuals, they would light fire. They would light fire to stay warm. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the celebration of Christmas itself. But this was done for individuals to stay warm. And it was incorporated. It was pulled in and taken as a practice of this festivity and this celebration. وَلِأَنْوَاعٍ مَخْصُوصَةٍ مِنَ الْأَطْعِمَةِ. And likewise, various and specific forms, types and categories of food that the individuals have associated to this festivity and this celebration. It comes from that which the individuals were eating at that particular time of the year. It was something that was natural. It was a cold time, fires were lit. The season and the harvest of crops, of vegetation and produce, that which was available at that time, found its way into the celebration and festivities of Christmas, because that which was present at this particular time frame. So now that we have produced for the individuals an understanding that it's not from the religion of Al-Islam, and that we only have two celebrations, and the reason we have gathered you up for this reason of introducing to you, sharing with you, relaying to you this information so that you could stay away from its evil. Now that this has already proceeded and you have had which has come from an authentic isnad, that which has come from a reliable, a trustworthy, a sound source of information, min al-Qur'ani, min al-Sunnah wa aqwal al-Salaf, from the Quran, from the Sunnah of the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and from the statement of our Salaf, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala. We're now going to bring some of the confusion, some of the statements that has been attributed to the cause or the source of Christmas. And it's very short, it's very brief. It's very short and it's very brief. So if the individual sometime later on down the line, or that which you have with you prior to you coming to this setting, and this sitting and this session, it differs from what is here, فَلَا ضَيْرَةٍ. There's no harm. فَهُوَ لَيْسَ مِنَ الدِّينِ الْإِسْلَامِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. It has nothing to do with the deen of Al-Islam. وَمَاذَا بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا الضَّلَالِ. And what is there after the truth except that it's going to be false, and it's going to be that which is deviant. وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدَ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجْدُ فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. And if it would have been from other than Allah Azza wa Jal, from other than the deen of Al-Islam, you would have found inside of it what? Many differences. If it was from other than the religion of Al-Islam, as Christmas and New Year's is, لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. You would have found in it many, abundant, numerous differences. أقوال متضربة, statements مضطربة, statements that clash with one another. So here this statement in reference to that which pertains to Christmas, it has been said, the New Testament gives no date of the year of Jesus' birth. And this individual, Joseph A. Fitzmyer, he is a professor of biblical studies at the Catholic University of America. He is a member of the Pontifical Biblical Commission and former president of the Catholic Biblical Association. Writing in the Catholic Church official commentary on the New Testament, he says about the date of Jesus' birth, and this is his statement: though the year of Jesus' birth is not reckoned with certainty, the birth did not occur in AD 1. This individual is saying, with acknowledging the fact that the birth of Jesus is not known with certainty amongst the kuffar. It is not known with certainty amongst the kuffar. He's saying that it did not take place in the year AD 1. And Roman pagans, they first introduced the holiday of Saturnalia. Saturnalia. They first introduced, Roman pagans, not the Christians, not the Jews. It was the Romans that first introduced this celebration or this festivity that was called Saturnalia. It was a week-long period of lawlessness celebrated between December 17th and December 25th. During this period, Roman courts were closed. Roman law dictated that no one could be punished for damaging property or injuring people during the week-long celebration. Starting to give you an awareness and understanding now that it comes from that which is fasad. As Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned, it is sufficient for the individual to know about these festivities and celebrations that is not from the deen of al-Islam. That is sufficient for you to understand that is not from guidance. But any individual, whether he be Muslim, whether he be Christian, whether he be Jewish, regardless of the individual's religion, if the individual understood that the courts, that which is supposed to implement and dictate to the people that which is right and protect the rights of their people, is going to be closed for a week-long period. And now chaos and trial and calamity is going to be practiced amongst the people, given permission to do so. This will start to give you an understanding that this holiday, this festivity, this celebration, the source of it is corrupt. The festival began when Roman authorities chose an enemy of the Roman people to represent the Lord of Misrule. These individuals would take an individual, a person, and they would hold this person as a figurehead. They would hold this individual as an appointee to represent the Lord of Misrule. This is their God of chaos. This is their God of calamity, of trial. Each Roman community selected a victim whom they forced to indulge in food and other physical pleasures throughout the week. At the festival's conclusion, December 25th, Roman authorities believed they were destroying the forces of darkness by brutally murdering this innocent man or woman. They thought that they were destroying this person that they took as a figurehead for chaos. They thought that they were killing this individual. They were killing the God of chaos. To show you now this aspect of shirk and kufr, how it takes place amongst the people. How it takes place amongst the people. And the ancient Greek writer or poet and historian Lucian, in his dialogue entitled Saturnalia, he describes the festival's observance in his time, saying, in addition to human sacrifice, he mentioned these customs: widespread intoxication, going from house to house while singing naked, rape and other sexual practices, and consuming human-shaped biscuits, which are still produced in English and German bakeries. In the 4th century, Christianity imported the Saturnalia festival, hoping to take the pagan masses with it. Now we see how the religion of Christianity, those individuals that were in authority at this time upon this religion of Christianity, hoping to win the masses of the people. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. As Allah Azza wa Jal, He has told Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, that verily you do not guide who you love. It is Allah Azza wa Jal who guides who He pleases. You cannot guide the people by festivities and celebrations. You cannot win the hearts, the masses of the people by money. You cannot win the hearts of the masses of the people with status. You cannot win the hearts and masses of the people with worldly gains. The best of the messengers, with his message, with being related to individuals who he called, Allah told him, you do not guide who you love, but verily Allah guides whom He pleases. Introducing this practice, this celebration or this festivity into the religion of Christianity, it doesn't win the hearts of the people. It doesn't guide. But it was taken into the religion hoping to win the hearts and the masses of the people. Christian leaders succeeded in converting to Christianity large numbers of pagans by promising them that they could continue to celebrate the Saturnalia as Christmas. So now there's going to be a compromise. As we see today that takes place amongst even some of the Muslims. Let's come together on that which we can agree upon and leave that which we differ upon to the side. This is not a new concept. This is not a new concept, but verily this was a concept that was practiced prior to the coming of Al-Islam. That these individuals, hoping to win the masses of the people, in order to allow them and influence them, entice them to the religion of Christianity, they allowed them to practice their practices which has already preceded the evil inside of it, of rape, of intoxication, of going from house to house naked. They were going to allow them to practice their practices by entering into the religion of Christianity. The problem was that there was nothing intrinsically Christian about Saturnalia. So after they had incorporated it and allowed these individuals to practice their practices, the problem came about. Just like the problem amongst the Muslims, it comes about when we try to come together upon that which we think we agree upon, which is not correct, and leave off our differences to the side. Eventually there comes a stumbling block. Eventually, at some point or another, we're going to differ. And the source or the remedy for where we need to go correct is not going to be the same. So this is not a means of guidance. This is not a means of guidance. It was not a means of guidance for them at their time. It's not a means of guidance for us in our time. The problem came when they saw that their practices conflicted with their religion. To remedy this, in order to solve and remedy and to bring remedy, to rectify this problem, the solution, these Christian leaders named Saturnalia concluding day, which was the 25th of December, to be Jesus' birthday. So now you see how evil is trying to take another course. And as it gets down the line and problems become conflictful, to solve it, other problems are introduced, only to lead to other problems. And it mentions that Christians had little success, however, refining the practices of Saturnalia. They had very little success on trying to curtail and suppress, contain these practices that were practiced. These Romans of intoxication, of rape, of going from house, singing songs naked. They had very little success on trying to hold their hand and practicing these practices.